the weirdest things about life that I had to figure out and that I had to learn is that we are all experiencing life different. We all have different experiences. We all have different people around us. We all have different things that we've gone through. We all continue to go through different things, and we will continue to go through different things. And so because we're all going through different things, the way that we communicate, the way that we understand people, the way that we want to interact with people is different. And if there's one thing that I've learned about being an adult, well, there's a lot of things I've learned about being an adult, but we don't have time for that today. But if there's one thing that I've learned about being an adult is being able to communicate is super important, but not only being able to communicate like your thoughts and your feelings, but being able to hear and understand and actually listen to what other people are saying to you is just as important. Historically, when I was younger, I have been guilty of trying to cut people off and not trying to hear what other people have to say and just assuming that I know what they're going to say to me because I've already put them in a box and I already understand them and I get them. But what happens is I limit their ability to be able to communicate with me. And in turn, we are not able to communicate. And so because we can't communicate, who knows the impact that that's having on my ability to learn, their ability to learn, our ability to just be better as people. And so it impacts things. And so one of the hardest things for me that I've learned, especially since I have been in different situations as far as like YouTube or really just in life or dealing with leaders or working with my students, is that sometimes my intentions don't beat me to the message. Sometimes people assume what my intentions are, like with my students. They assume that my intention is to not give them more time to complete their assignments. They assume that I don't understand their perspective. They assume that I am there to make their lives harder. And whenever they step into or start our conversation with the assumption that I'm not there to help them, it always hinders my ability to help them because they already have a wall up. And so one of the things that I have been telling my students lately is before we jump on the phone call, because I do allow my students to reach out to me, I do allow them to actually have conversations with me. And I do want to make sure that they understand my intentions going into the conversation. So I always tell them at the end of our conversation, I want you to understand how I'm there for you. I want you to understand how we're going to move forward. And I want you to understand where I'm coming from so that we can both be on the same page. And what I've realized is that kind of disarms them a little bit, and that allows them to hear what I'm trying to say and to understand my intentions. So I just wanted to make this video and say a huge part of communication, and I'm no expert in communication. I am only sharing out my experience based off certain situations that I've been in. But the key to communication is listening with the intent to understand what that person's talking about, not listening with the intent to combat what they're talking about. I know certain times it's easy for us to want to debate our points and to want to make sure that people hear us, and we almost go so hard at them that we almost want to silence them and not give them the opportunity to say something back. But the true definition of a functioning relationship and communicating in a way that is good for everybody is to make sure that you're allowing the other person to have a chance to understand where they're coming from. If you're going into conversations and you're already putting people into boxes and you are already assuming that you know what the other person is going to say, or you are going into that conversation waiting for that person to say something specific so that you can get triggered or so that you can go off, you are actually killing the ability, and you already think that you know what somebody's going to say. You already have defenses ready for what you're going to say when they say the thing, and you're already kind of going up with your armor, and you're going into this conversation ready for battle. You're probably going to get a battle. One of the things that I have been doing lately, which has been kind of cool, probably for like the past 6 months, is I've been the de-escalator. So when I know somebody is coming to me with an issue, instead of me meeting them where they're at or over talking them or out talking them or going, just as fast at them as they're going or doing all these things, I actually de-escalate. So the louder they get, the more aggressive they get, the more confused or whatever they start to get with themselves. And as I see them get frustrated, I actually work in the opposite direction. What I have found is a couple of things. For me, it helps my mental capacity because I'm able to stay calm and not retaliate based on the tone or based off what I'm hearing them say. But the other thing that helps me with is that I'm actually able to control my own emotions and control my own thoughts. And so it feels like for me that I'm like de-escalating that situation, but really what I'm doing for myself is I'm de-escalating myself. And usually the calmest person in communication is the person who walks away from the conversation feeling great, because you're like, great, okay, I heard what they were saying, I heard what they were doing, I feel good, I get their point. I still don't agree with their point, but I understand their point. And so I just wanted to share this little tidbit of information out because, like I said, I've been using this a ton with my students lately, and I've been using this almost as a point of realizing my power dynamic with my students is because I am their professor, I am their boss, I am their leader, I am the person that's making the rules, but I don't want to be in conversation with them as the leader, as the boss. I'm good. I need them to do the best that they can. And so if that means I need to disarm myself, and if that means I need to take kind of a step back and lean out a little bit and allow them the space to do and say whatever they need to do, that's what I'm going to do. And it's been super successful for me. So if you're somebody that struggles with communication, or if you're trying to look in new ways to communicate, stop, take a deep breath, listen to what people are saying, use that de-escalating tactic. The louder they get, the quieter you should get. The other thing is remember your intentions. So remember, if you're coming to a situation, you're trying to solve the situation and you're trying to make sure the person leaves and they feel heard and valued, play that role. But if you're going to battle and you're debating, go to battle. That's a whole different thing. But if you're one of those people that is just like trying to be heard and you're finding yourself, you're not able to be heard, again, de-escalate. Try to work backwards and try to bring yourself out of that conversation. Doesn't always work, but it's something cool that I've been practicing that I just wanted to share because this might help somebody. Not share, but I just wanted to share and put it out there for the world because, again, somebody might need this information. They didn't even know they need this information. So here it is.